So I'm wondering today if we might be able to explore sort of navigating the professional world as an independent filmmaker, and talk about funding sources, and perhaps pitfalls.
Um, Obviously, it's more difficult if you're an independent filmmaker in terms of if you don't have a producer, like you have to do all the main things yourself, which means finding money, which can be very heavy if you have to go around and it's sometimes privately or to institutions. To start a film with nothing, with no funds, is very difficult. But it's possible also, because if you have connections with, if you're thinking of doing a documentary, first of all, if you don't have to travel and have all these expenses to go to a location right away, if you do it in where you are, like a lot of our people, they're at the reserve level or they live in the community. So all the people that they would like to do a documentary about usually are in the same area where they are. So that's easier because you can do just interviews, just sound, and start with the people. You don't have to travel 200 miles to find the person you want to work with. So it all depends at where you are and where do you want to do this documentary. If you are able to do interviews, just sound yourself, where you are locally, it's much, of course, much cheaper and much easier in terms of you taping people and then listening to it and not having to go anywhere. And then when you feel that you don't have a full story or you don't understand it, you can go back to the same place, to the same people, and tape them some more to get a better understanding of what this story is about. But if you live in town somewhere and you want to do a documentary in a community somewhere where it's quite far, then you have to apply for development to try and how are you going to get there if you have no money? Like you have to find an institution or somebody that will help you financially. You can go to an institution or a foundation or whatever, figure out where you have to go, the beginning. Who are you going to interview? Where is this person living? So you have expense right there to begin with if you have to travel. So it might mean that you have to apply somewhere and explain what you want to do, what story. Sometimes you don't know it in advance, but you know which people you want to work with and you want to hear them. And it's just the beginning. And in general, like I don't know what it is now, but often people will apply for the first development money. Sometimes it's $5,000 or, around that, so that it covers your expense to go there. And if you have to take a hotel or if you have to travel, and then you do your interviews. And once you have heard for sometimes many hours, more and more, you know what the story is, or you should. So by knowing what the story is going to be, where are you going to do your shooting? Where is this location? Is there more than one location? You have to figure the expense to be able to work with the people. How much is it going to cost approximately? And your crew. You have to have professional people who can do sound professionally, and camera and assistants, electricians sometime, depending on if you're shooting outside or inside where it's dark. You got to have an electrician to really help you to get better images because there's not enough lighting. So there's all those things. And as I told you before, you have to transcribe your interviews so you can read them. And when you read them, you kind of know what's missing in the story. You have a beginning, you have an end, Do you have a story? So you might feel, oh, I don't quite understand it. I have to go back to this same person. So all that costs money. So you have to make a budget, an approximate budget. You never know exactly, but whoever you're working with, if you're in an institution or even private producers, they usually are pretty good in knowing what you need to function as a filmmaker. But you should find a way to apply, just what you said now. Like, I feel you should get help because you might not go so far on your own. But if there was a small budget, you don't have to ask for lots of money, budget for your traveling, what it's going to cost for you to stay somewhere, then you would feel it less heavy. And by the time you do all your interviews that you feel you should be doing on your own, just with a tape recorder, then you continue and you say, now I know what my story is going to be. I know where I have to shoot. And there might be, you have to do that soon because you're losing people that are of a certain age and they're leaving, and those stories are all silent. So it's very important what you're doing. And I think you should really apply. Try and figure out where you have to go, where you should go, and how much it's going to cost. And, even it's $4,000 or $5,000, and you don't have to worry. You're going to do it, and you take the time that when you can, and then you develop, you continue once you have all the sound and you know how you're going to tell this story. But you really should ask for help. There's places for that. The Canada Council are very good. They have a section for Indigenous people. You apply there. On your application, describe where you want to go. Where is this place? Where do you live? How long does it take you? Are you going to go there by car? Are you going to fly over? All those things you have to figure out. And don't worry, just put it on paper, and you're developing a story. And there are places where they will encourage you and will help you. Because what you're doing is sad. Like that woman, if she passes away, and just give her a chance to speak now. It's very important. Yeah, because then you say to yourself, oh my God, I should have gone there before. I should have do it now. Ask for help. Don't be worried about asking for help. There is money there in different institutions, foundations, especially for that. Don't be afraid. Just write it down, and I think it will be something you will regret if you don't do it.
I used to apply independently by myself, and I was getting rejected quite often. But however, I started working with the Fort Erie Native Friendship Center and applying through them. And then I started getting accepted. So anybody in that situation, if you're getting denied, over and over again, it's a lot of times because we don't have the experience underneath our belt, and it doesn't give us the validation for them to go ahead and approve us. But if you can use another organization to apply through, you can get your name in there. And then, so I've applied afterwards and independently, and I've been getting approved. So I was just wondering if there was any other sources that you knew of that where people could apply to.
Yeah, well, in terms of Indigenous people, there are a lot of places you can apply to. The Film Board, for one, CBC, they all have sections, money, and places, especially for Indigenous stories. All the institutions that are governmental institutions are organized that way. So you're talking Telefilm Canada. What you need is, when you go and apply, you have to give them the feeling that you know what you're doing. If you're applying, if you say, I want to tell this story, I'm a director, or I want to be a director, all those things, there's money for that. And there's money to help you to start. But if you come and you know nothing, and you know people don't want to, if you go to school or you know some places they have special training courses you can take. But if you're a first director, you try to get help from people who are professional to really try and understand what your responsibility is, so that by the time you apply, whoever is on a jury, to say, okay, this kid looks like he looks, what he's going to do and how he's going to do it, and let's encourage this person. It might be your first film, but there are places where to apply to be helped and accepted. And you have the Film Board, you have CBC, you have Telefilm Canada, you have ISO, you have, there's lots of places. Everything is possible. It's your responsibility to know what you want to do. It comes back to, do you know, can you express what you want to do? If you apply or if you have a crew, you have a producer with you, and the producer can easily take over in a lot of cases. If you're not so sure, or should I do this way? It's very important for the director and the producer and the editor to be in a trust fashion to be able to work together, because otherwise you can be tricked and it doesn't take much and you feel very disappointed and you don't even know. So this is why you have to try and work with someone that is not going to play like that. And that's can be any institution, can be anybody. You know, when the director is not sure of the story, this is when everybody gives their idea and want to get their idea in, and so you end up sometimes at the end not being very happy. But from the very beginning, you should know that. You, as a person who has a story to tell and want to tell the story, you have to know what the story is, and you have to develop whoever you're going to be working with. And if a producer knows you're going to be a director, you know the story, and you're going to do everything to make it the way you feel it should be, then there's not going to be that kind of game. A producer is supposed to help you as a director financially and places where you'll have your film seen. That's the work of the producer.
I was just wondering, I had started doing some interviews with my aunt and my dad on their residential school story. I thought my microphone from I have a little, it's called a DJI, a Pocket 2. And I thought my microphone was sufficient to record sound. And then when I was looking over the video that I have done with my aunt, the video kind of got stuck against her, or sorry, the microphone got stuck against her neck, and you could kind of hear it in the video. So I know that sound is very, very important. And if somebody's working alone, is there any kind of brands that you would suggest, or any kind of like sound recording device that is like, I guess, budget friendly? Since I don't have a budget, I'm just wondering. Thank you.
I don't know all the names, but I know more and more the equipment. You can have very simple equipment. They're very small, these recorders, and they're very professional. You have to go, if you rent one or buy one, go to a professional place that they provide for filmmakers. That's the best way. And they'll tell you, oh, they always have something new every time you go. You know, we have such and such a recorder here. It's easy to handle, and the sound is professional, and you can use it anywhere. If you just use a phone, sometimes even phones have good recording sound, but I wouldn't do that. But that's the main thing important. But as you see, you can imagine if you got a long session with a relation like that, and then you feel, oh my God, but there's an extra sound that you don't want to hear. It could be anything. But technically, there's a lot of places where they are professional, like the film board, or places where they do professional things, can maybe correct that and take that extra sound off. That's possible. Yes, because we often ourselves have problems like that. Sometimes you have no choice. You're taping a situation, but there's all kinds of sounds you don't want to hear that's happening, but you have to get this particular sequence, so you tape it anyway. But then, when you come, in our case, when we come and do the mix and we go to the theater. With the kind of equipment that they have, they can often get rid of this extra sound that you don't want to hear.
Right. So, would you be able to maybe give some advice or speak on the ability to step out of your comfort zone and into a subject you might not be comfortable with or you might not know as well?
Well, I don't think not as a fiction, because then you have to learn what the story is. And learning is, you go back to documentary filmmaking. You're listening all the time. But if you feel, oh, I want to make a film about something that my parents went through or something, but still, you still have to listen, unless it's yourself that went through a particular time in your life and you want to make a film about that. But you're going closer to fiction because you're going to write what your story is. You're going to have actors to act what you're writing about, even though it comes from something that you lived or that you know very well. Then you're the one that knows the story. Whereas if you're listening for a documentary, you don't know what that story is. So that's the difference. And they say, write what you know about. Yes, if you're writing a story that you want actors to do it, yes, you better know what you're writing about. But it's two different subjects, two different disciplines, I should say.